Latifi.
Back to school to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
A package that wasn't as competitive as we had all hoped. There was that big hope to be as quick as Max, a little bit better. Exposed a weakness of mine, a weak spot of mine. My driving style exposed a weakness of mine, a weak spot of mine to drive fast. COVID started to wear off. To be honest, I never wanted to be in Formula One.
Let's go, man! I got it! It's backseat drivers time.
Good evening and welcome to Backseat Drivers, number 23 for 23. I'd just like to say, Ricardo done brilliantly over the weekend. That's the only thing we need to talk about. So let's introduce the other Ricardo fans on the panel. We've got Lucky 13 Matt.
All aboard the Dan hype train.
Why is the 13 lucky?
Because he came 13th, and it's lucky.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's lucky that he has a job, and Perez will be out of a job soon.
Yes. I was thinking maybe like lucky hashtag 33. Thirsty threes. Scott McLaughlin, and once again the super sub Boovy's on.
G'day.
So Rob's predictions that he's not here to defend himself, so we can get stuck right in.
Too bad.
So I actually predicted Dan would probably take a couple of weekends to get up to speed. He's already, I suppose, Yuki's out of a job next year as well as Checo.
I think Yuki's, I don't know what the Japanese equivalent of Centrelink is, but I think he's wandered down there, or he's gone to Honda and just said, can we speed up this process? I'm very motivated to get a new job now. I don't even need to put a 4-week notice period in.
How quickly can you get me in as the test and reserve driver at Aston Martin?
How quickly can you just put me in any old Honda? I'll drive a Honda Jazz for the next 12 months if it means I get on your team.
So how long to go in the Super Formula is there?
2 races.
Super Formula?
Yeah.
Because there's 2 more.
Yeah. Because at this rate, I could actually see Checo being
3
shoved
Australians.
Well, no, probably not doing on the field, but
Lawson's an Australian, as I see it.
Yeah. So the 7th state, like Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Scott Dixon's different. He's New Zealander, different country. Scott McLaughlin's 7th state Australian. But I'm starting to think, if Dan has another weekend like that, and everyone's like, oh, Checo driver of the day. You qualified the best car 9th and then drove it to 3rd. You should have been 2nd.
Exactly.
Like, what Max won by a country mile.
Wait, I checked it, Dave.
Was about 33
The other
seconds.
cars are only just finishing now. Max is already...
Do you think, like, it was a hashtag 33? And his engineer's like 32 seconds max. Just don't go too fast. You got three laps to go or whatever. You want to finish 33 seconds ahead. Get all the 3s in line. But anyway. So
you reckon super Formula, they finish, and then there's another awkward phone call.
I thought, because I have been banging on all year that Dan was coming in to replace Checo, which
we have the video proof, and Rob's not here to defend himself, but Rob is wrong. 100%.
It's taken longer than what I joked about, but also Checo had a lot stronger start to the season than I expected. But his downfall has been a lot worse than I expected.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I did. And also, I wasn't predicting the Red Bull to be that good. Like, they're a long way in front.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Well, one Red Bull's a long way. in front.
Max is playing it on easy mode, where the little screen popped up, Dave, and said, "You're beating your opponents by more than 30 seconds. Would you like to increase the difficulty?"
Yeah.
He said yes, and it said Adrian Newey will now try an experimental zero pod. There's potentially that you're going to look stupid, but if you do well with this, you will make Toto furious, because you can tell Newey just walked around, Dave, with his little notepad. He's looked at the pods in his mind. In about 5 seconds, he's gone, "Yep, that's what I need to do." He's walked back to the grid. He's gone to Horner. "I've got an upgrade I want to do," and he's like, "Whatever, just." You do what you need to do. And he was thinking like it'll make the car like super fast with his brand new thing. He goes, "No, I'm just going to copy Mercedes, but I'm going to show you how it's meant to be done." And Toto's going to be furious at you. And he's like, "You know what? All I heard was furious Toto and us better. Do whatever you need to do. In fact, go nuts."
Just on that, do you think if there was unlimited budgets back again,
Oh, geez.
that with Red Bull being like this, they'd just be like,
it'd be worse.
let's give this zero side pod thing a crack.
Yeah.
And then as Mercedes has moved away from it because they can't get it to work, and then Red Bull comes out at Spa, zero side pods, and then goes even faster.
Yep.
And goes, if you were smarter, you could have made this work better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dave, all I imagine if there was zero, checking on the balance
Back in
or
the old
whatever,
days.
Red Bull would come out with the old, what was it from Gran Turismo? The X210, 2010. Basically, what I would do is I would pull out with like an old 1960s F1 car and have Horner like yell at me if I was new, like, "Oh, this is the best we can do, these cost caps." And then once you remove it, it's just a car cover. You remove it, reveal the X2010, and then just as a laugh, drive around really slowly, like qualify at the back, and then go, "Oh, obviously all the parts haven't worked," and then just have Newey just looking at his notepad, like scratching his head. Then when they do the actual race, just watch him blast past everyone in the first corner, and then win by about 37 minutes. and then Newey just walk past and go, "Oh, that's right, he's meant to accelerate. Oh well," and then just walk off and just have Toto have a total meltdown.
With the now they've got the most wins in a row. Max is going to win the championship. Do you think they should be setting new challenges each week? Like, instead of let's not bother about qualifying, and we'll see if you can win from last and things like that. And then fun one this weekend, 5 pit stop race. See if you can beat them with 5 pit stops.
Exactly.
I think the side pod thing, Dave, is their way of sort of doing testing. I reckon Newey's got a bunch of ideas, and he's like, "I've got this idea for a side pod. It's basically Toto's, but I'm just going to copy it. Can I give it a go?" And Horner's going, what do I care? I've got the easiest job on the planet at this point. I turn up, I turn to my ex-Spice Girl wife and go, "Watch me win this race." I then sit down at a computer. I'm not even looking at the screen. I'm on the internet ordering pizza for the team because I know we've already won. The only problem is I have to order it before the start of the race because I have to order 100 pizzas for the whole team. So I already know that we've won. So I just order all the Dominoes at the start of the race. By the time Max is finished, the Dominoes have turned up and everyone eats them. The biggest problem is picking what pizza flavors I'm going to get for the whole team. Honestly.
And Checo complaining that his is cold by the time he gets back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why Max has to go so quickly, because he doesn't. Checo's annoyed because when he finishes, all the good pizza's gone and he's left with the vegetarian options. That's why he's so annoyed. Horner's told him, "Look, here's the thing. Max is going to finish. I want you to finish within 5 to 10 seconds of him. Just, don't be garbage.
Yep.
And if you don't finish in the podium, you don't get pizza. That's it. You lose your seat and you lose your pizza privileges."
And Dad's just poking his head around the corner.
Yep.
You know what's amazing? I know, we joke about it, but everyone seems to love Dan. Like when he did the F1 new photos and stuff, everyone wanted to show him off in the F1. You know when they took him to the F1 media center now?
Yeah.
everyone there just wanted to like, hey Dan, this is the glass that I drink water out of, and he's like, cool. This is the mints that I eat, and they're like, okay, you know, oh Dan, come over here. I've got something I want to show you, but it's not really relevant. But you know,
Who cares? I just want to show it to you.
yeah,
Although thankfully Netflix has gone. Yes.
Yeah.
oh,
Because
I suspect as well. There's probably been a bit of pressure from
Probably.
Netflix and Liberty in
Yeah.
that you have got, because apparently this is where the whole Lando to Red Bull thing started.
Okay.
They've turned around kind of and gone, hey, this is a bit shit that you guys are so far in front, and you've got a plonker in the second car. How about if you're going to be that far in front, how about, you know, we at least make it interesting and have two top drivers?
yeah, I've heard that
And
they want it to more competitive, like the old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure on Red Bull's whole plan or whatever, but if it was me, I'd prefer to be getting Dan into that seat that you can probably get cheaper without disrupting, taking away, you know, McLaren's best asset, blah blah blah.
Yeah, of course.
And also he can get close to Max, but he's not going to beat him. And you can kind of in the contract, hey, you'll get your few wins a year or whatever, but the plan is that Max wins the championship. And at this point in his career, he's probably more willing to take it than what he was
Earlier,
at the end of 17, wasn't it?
Yeah, 18, wasn't it?
18. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
no,
19,
it was
20,
19
yeah,
and 20 at
20,
Renault.
19, 20 at Renault, 20, 21, 22 at McLaren.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you told Ricardo you can jump in the second best car, and all we need you to do is finish second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Or not put into the wall.
Yeah, basically we want to wrap up the Constructors' Championship before summer break, and just so we can have a cruisy, you know.
Well,
We can try stuff.
the fear would be, though, like you look at the weekend and really see, like Mercedes is the second fastest car, except their qualifying strategy absolutely ridiculous. And then
wait, they had a strategy?
They're better than Ferrari.
What was the strategy?
Let all the others clean up the circuit and we'll go out last and do our super lap. But
I didn't know
there's a
that
lot
was
of other
strategy.
people who had the same plan.
Yeah.
And you didn't have bankers in there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Lewis was lucky and George had no banker in there. So when his lap didn't go to plan, it was all over. But to me as well, that was probably more driver of the day because he got, what was it, like 18th or something to 5th?
Yeah.
So really, he was closer to Lewis than what Checo was to
Max.
Verstappen. Yeah. And yet had to pass more cars to do it.
Yeah, and he did.
In
Actually, drove a pretty good race. He drove a pretty
what
good
we
race.
assume is a worse car as well, with a worse team.
Second best team at the moment.
Yeah, but no, it's like strategy-wise, pit stops, etc. Red Bull is doing better than them. But so if Mercedes comes up closer, you've got McLaren knocking on the door, Ferrari, they're within that ballpark somewhere. Aston Martin's not far off. If Max is only winning the race by 5 seconds, Checo could be like 8th, 9th, 10th.
Exactly.
All of a sudden on the grid next year.
People will start catching him. They're not going to catch Max, but they'll catch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like there's a chasm between. So then the next year Constructors' Championship, if you've got Max winning, but you've got the second car that's only picking up those minor points, and then you've got, say, George and Lewis constantly on the podium, you're probably not going to win the Constructors' Championship with your one car. Whereas then if you've got Dan there, who even if he's, 10 seconds behind Max each race, that's probably still enough getting him seconds and thirds.
Yeah.
Even if the competition is very close.
So you're saying next year, Dave, it's Max and Dan in the Super Best Friends team, and then it's Checo and Lawson, and even
Lawson
then,
and Hauger.
No, it'll be Lawson. It'll be Lawson and somebody else.
You reckon Checo's just whoosh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless another team picks him up because of his cash.
I reckon Yuki's got more chance of being in a Red Bull car next year in one of the 4 seats. That's why
they send him to Japan.
No, I reckon.
They switch with the other rookie. Well, sorry, Iwasa comes in for Yuki.
Yeah, I think they'd probably give. I think Iwasa or Hago or
somebody from the Red Bull
Alex
Academy.
Blow.
That could be that.
Is the other one. Yeah, I think both after the weekend. That was the nail in Yuki's coffin as well.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'd put Yuki as more of a chance than Checo to have a Red Bull seat next year. I think if Checo won't get demoted, he'll be out.
So they won't. So he'll just be clean cut. You're going.
And probably Haas might pick him up. And probably Haas might pick him up because he's got cash behind him.
If he wants to do something like that.
If he wants to, who knows? He might even get IndyCar.
Yeah. And
why not? A lot of people have gone. It could be an option for him too. IndyCar, they'll be more than willing to take him on if he's willing to pay for a seat, no problems, or even as a paid driver.
He won't get a paid seat in IndyCar at the moment.
No, he won't. He'll probably end up having to pay for a seat. Yeah. The thing is, though, would he just do the street and road circuits, or would he also do the ovals as well? Then
I honestly reckon he'll disappear.
You reckon he
might go and do some racing in Mexico.
Maybe
my gut feel is sorry.
WEC.
My gut feel is that he'll disappear.
You reckon
I think the problem is Checo doesn't want to be on a team where someone will outshine him. So he just needs to do a single person team where it's just him. Basically, he wants to play single player F1 on PC, but there's only one car and it's him. So no matter what time he gets, he qualifies first. And when he does the sprint race, he gets first. And then when he finishes the race, first.
Ain't going to happen. So basically, I think Dave's right. He'll just disappear.
Yeah, I reckon he'll probably a bit Latifi-like.
Latifi style?
No, he'll go to business school.
No.
Well, yeah. Why is he...
Don't worry, whatever. I don't get that either. That didn't sound right. Your family owns $1 billion company. All you have to do is learn from your dad, and that's it.
Well, maybe Dad said, look, the Formula 1 thing was a bit of a bust, buddy. We go to school and then learn for a couple of years, and then you become a work in the business.
Dave, are you telling me that a billionaire dad had the nerve to tell his Canadian F1 driver that he's not very good? Is this a new thing? I didn't know billionaire Canadians could do that to their sons that are disappointing in an F1 team.
You do wonder with some of these how much is like the parental kind of pushing for it, because they're living vicariously through.
Oh yeah, pretty.
Do you think Papa Stroll is just like I said? He tells people, he's like, "Hey guys, if you come over, I will show you an F1 driver," and they're like, "It's not your son again, is it?" He's like, "No, it's definitely someone else." He goes, "We've met your son.
And then
he's not very good. Can we meet the other one, your favorite son?" He's like, he's busy.
We want to make the Spaniard son.
Seb wouldn't play the game, so that's why I had to employ him.
And Alonso's playing it like perfectly.
Seb didn't read the bit in his contract where it says, "Be nice to the boss's son, and we'll keep your position."
The contracts just gradually get more and more specific about how to treat Lance. Like Checo, we fucked up with Checo there. Right, Seb, you've got to do this, this, and this. Oh, that wasn't enough. Okay, Fernando. This,
Fernando,
and there's a bonus if you do it all.
No, Dave. Fernando. Here's the thing: when you're driving and you see one of the screens, even if you can't see your teammate, just go, was that Lance? That's good driving from him. What position is he? It doesn't matter if it's awkward and he's in, 18th place. Just make it look like you care about your teammate.
Yeah. While also showing that you're kind of cruising around and you've got enough time to look at other people on the screen.
Make it look like you are just treating this as your victory lap of just reminding everyone you're still here and you're just having fun.
18th, you say. What's my position again? 6th. Oh, not too bad, is it?
Do you reckon him and Dan have like beers later of the we just got our teammates fired club? They're both got a side bet of like who's going to get kicked out first.
Got to clean up the field enough.
Oh, yeah.
I reckon if any one of them goes, I reckon you're going to see like a secret handshake, and like if Lance gets fired first, Dan's going to give him he's going to sign a helmet and give it to Alonso just for no reason. He'll finish 6th, and they'll be like, "Why are you giving him his helmet?" He goes, "No reason." Anyway, how good was Mr. Stroll? I'll miss him.
I'm just picturing Dan walking past like the Aston Martin thing and going, "Hey, Fernando, I call that a twofer." Do you reckon they'll have they can both have a little catch up afterwards and just they'll ask each other what they're doing? Actually, do you think Yuki will just go on the warpath once he gets fired? You know, most of them are very politically correct, and they're like, it was fun driving at Team Booby. No, but like all of them when they leave, they're all like, thanks to AlphaTauri for my opportunity. I know that I got no points for them. Yuki, I just feel like it's going to go off and just be like, you guys don't know what you missed. I'm the best driver ever. You guys suck. Anyway, I'm out. I think it depends on how much you want to keep the payment.
Exactly.
Because, Nick will be being paid probably for the rest of the year still.
Yep.
And then if because he'll still be under contract or whatever. Yeah. And it'll be if you unload or whatever, we can take you, or we don't make your last 20 weeks worth of wages don't get paid or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, Yuki's just going to see it as I get more money for PlayStations now, and I don't have to wake up.
Then he can open his restaurant. He can open his restaurant. He can open up the restaurant he wants to. That he always wanted.
He wants a restaurant.
A restaurant?
Yeah, that was one of the things I was saying, what would you do if you weren't in F1? He goes, I'd open up a restaurant.
I think that's just so he can yell at people.
Yeah. I've watched Gordon Ramsay. That looks like fun.
Yeah. It probably worked out well for him.
There'll be someone at the front of the house, and they'll be like, Yuki, can we have those tomatoes, please? We'll be like, shut up, your tomatoes are shit. Oh, this place is the worst. Bang. He's gonna turn up to the restaurant just to yell at people.
Yep.
And then one day Dan's gonna come to his restaurant, and it's gonna be and they're gonna film it for Netflix.
Yep.
And it's just gonna be like, Dan visits the man whose life he ruined. Also, he brings his best mate Alonso along, which is awkward because he's just run into Lance, who is now a line chef here because he can't get at any other job.
I like the way, but that won't happen.
It's nice to have dreams.
It's nice to have dreams. Yes.
I feel that Papa Stroll's going to have to cut ties with his kids soon, though. And I reckon if silly season goes as bonkers as it did last year, he'll sort of just be like, "Oh, in the madness, I accidentally fired my son. Oh no!"
And they pick up Dawn.
I mean, does he have enough super points?
Yeah, Dawn does.
Does he?
Yeah, because where did he come? Was it third last year?
Yeah, third last year.
So that would have given him enough in just that single season.
And he's fifth. Yeah, and he's fifth this year.
Yeah.
In the championship. So he's got more than enough points. All right.
So we can make the Super Australian F1 League.
Almost, yeah.
And kick out all the Canadians.
Yep. Let's get rid of all the Canadians.
And then I think if that happens, Dave, I heard that Rob quits F1 completely.
He can do the F2 reports.
No. He just quits Formula racing at all, Booby. One,
what
two,
you can do with
three.
IndyCar?
Just
So
waiting
we
for
can
the next
do-
Canadian billionaire to come along.
No. I'll tell you what we can do then. Rob Wood can become the NASCAR. He can become the American Series correspondent then. He has to watch all of them. He has to watch all the American racing. So he's got to watch NHRA. He's got to watch
Does
Mud
Canada
Trucks.
have a racing league?
I don't think so. It's usually tied in with the US. So he's got to watch all the Indy. He's got to watch all the NASCAR. He's got to watch all the feeder series as well. He's got to watch the sports cars. I'm trying to think what else. And then eventually he's going to have to watch
Speaking of Canadians, Dave, has a Canadian cursed Alpine?
Possibly.
Because they buy the team and then all of a sudden, as soon as people are watching them, they completely implode.
You mean a particular actor and his conglomerate?
Well, if a man that buys another team and Deadpool,
I'd forgotten about that.
basically they bought the team, Dave, and now they have
they
two
bought a percentage of the team.
Hmm.
Who knows?
I don't know.
It's just been bad luck.
What's the point
of buying it, or
of Alpine?
I don't know.
It's not good at the moment, is it?
No,
you need some lower table teams, Dave, for excitement.
Well, I do, but
we've got two of them. It's Williams and Haas.
Yeah, their plan is to get to the front and challenge the top teams.
Yes, but they're not getting anywhere close to it yet.
Like, they had Alonso the last couple of years. They had Piastri coming up.
Yeah.
They lost
Piastri.
Two of the biggest assets they had.
Yeah.
They threw that down the bin. Now they've got... It's not like Gasly's fired there. Gasly's as good as Ocon.
He's got a big contract.
Who's the top of the B heap, really.
Yeah.
Neither of them are going to go and win championships.
No.
Who's in the B heap, Dave? Who have we got in the is it the bottom 10 or?
Well, it's hard. I mean, other than Lance and probably Sargent, there's no one. They're probably
they're
C's.
D. They're D, Dave. I'm going to say.
Yeah,
I'm also going to say that the Forgotten Chinaman is probably also. I know he occasionally does stuff.
Yeah, he qualified fifth.
I know, he did well.
Yeah, and you all saw the memes. He didn't know where he was and got confused and went back to the back of the grid where he's safe.
Yeah, I don't belong here.
He's like, somewhere where I don't know where I am.
Terry's told me it's really cool to plow into people into turn one.
All right.
Well, as Dan said, that was an NFL welcome back to the league. I'm just going to tap into the back of your car.
So, according to this, if you look at just the top 10 standings, Ocon is in 10th position. Piastri is in 11th.
Yep.
But see, Piastri isn't that far off Lando.
He's a rookie.
Yeah.
He's a rookie.
He's a rookie and he's only 3 spots behind Lando in the championship.
Yeah. But what
a fair amount of points, but still, he's only he's only 3 standings in the championship.
Piastri's shown this year that he could be. Yeah, he could. Like, he's got the potential under the right circumstances. There's no question he could be world champion. Like Lando Norris as well. Right circumstances or whatever. Lando Norris could win the world championship.
You mean the Red Bull car, Dave? Right circumstance, Red Bull car.
Yeah.
Maybe 2026 something might change.
Yeah, but things will ebb and flow and whatever. But I think Ocon's been around enough that he's not going to win the world championship.
No.
And then Gasly's essentially doing the same thing in that car.
Yeah.
So we can
both
rule
about the same anyway.
Neither of them are going to win the world. Even if you put them in Red Bull now,
they won't win a championship.
They're going to get smashed by Max. If you put them in Red Bull with Lando Norris in there, Lando's going to win. Yeah. And then in 2 years' time, if Piastri was there, Piastri would be, beating both of them, kind of thing. And that's what I mean by like the B kind of thing. where you could nearly say Alonso under the right circumstances now will still win the World Championship. Leclerc and Sainz.
Yep.
No.
Sainz is a little bit of a stretch. Leclerc probably can. But see,
the right machinery.
I'd still put, if you put Ocon and Sainz in the same team,
yep,
I'd probably still be going Sainz.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Out of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would too.
And that's the kind of thing, like Alpine, you had Alonso, who's the proven rah-rah. He could still win a champion. You've got Piastri, who, can. At the moment, it's like the Haas model.
They've got
What's the point of having those two drivers? Yeah. What?
Fun,
but
just because
they don't crash cars like Mick Schumacher did.
Yeah.
But why don't we
bring
we've
some
got
rookies
Magnus? That's it. We've got Magnussen as your benchmark. Blah blah blah. Like at the moment, we've got Yuki Tsunoda as your benchmark at Toro Rosso, and he just got smashed by the new guy.
Yeah.
So now we can judge that Yuki's not good enough.
Yeah.
We know what level Magnussen's at. Why do we bring someone else in at the same shitty level?
Bring a junior in.
Mick Schumacher didn't work. We'll try the next new bloke. Hey, he doesn't work. Well, we'll hang on to Magnussen. He beats Magnussen, then we bring in another one.
Exactly.
To try and lift and find something. I really don't like this thing at the moment with F1 where we're just like Checo being in the team. What's the fucking point?
Well, Dave, let's imagine Checo does magically fall sick, and obviously Dan's going to take that spot, and they're going to put some random kid in the AlphaTauri. If Dan then does have a race and he finishes like second or third, that would almost be instant death to Perez, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's probably sitting there now. If I ever get sick or need my appendix out, I'm just going to race. It doesn't matter. I'll race with a broken leg, a black eye. I could be missing an arm, but if I lose a race,
that explains the results. It turns out he's had a broken appendix 3/4 of the year, and that's why.
That's why
he didn't want to.
The thing is, if he has to sit out, they're obviously just going to go to AlphaTauri. We need Dan back just for a race. We'll chuck in.
They also, they made it very clear that Dan was on loan to AlphaTauri.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whereas with other drivers, like when they swapped Gasly and Verstappen, people were like, "Oh, demotion or whatever," and they're like, "No, we have 2 teams and 4 drivers where we place like your contract is that you're a Red Bull driver, not that you're a Red Bull Racing driver or you're a Toro Rosso driver. It's that you drive for Red Bull, which means that we can put you wherever we want." And with the Dan thing, it was Dan is on loan to Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
So basically,
it was worded exactly like that.
He knows that he's probably
he's gone.
He's pretty much he's done for.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, no bicycle rides with him.
Nope.
No. If he's invited over for dinner at Dan's house, he probably won't go. Basically, if I was him, I'd have a food tester. I would have someone to test all my food, because Dan could be a smiling assassin. He'd be like, just try this Vegemite sandwich I made. Never mind, just try it. It's good. Because you know what else is awkward to watch is when they do the 3 Red Bull questionnaire things. You remember when they like when Dan and President they did that blind F1 driving?
Yeah.
You could sort of tell Perez was put he was put behind the monitor so Max and Dan could talk to each other. Like when they do all the jokes together, I don't know if it's the language barrier, but a lot of the times Max and Dan will like joke to each other, and then Perez will be like, "Oh, that was a good joke. Can I be a part of it? Can someone tell me what's going on?" Like he just feels like he's missing. Like you can tell they have like a separate little chat. Like the Red Bull people are going like, "We're going out for drinks. Can I come?" "Oh, sorry, Perez. There's not enough room in the minibus. There's only room for 4. On
WhatsApp, there's Red Bull drivers chat, and there's Red Bull drivers chat without Checo.
Yeah. Oh no, Prez, that's a different chat group. That's just for like, non
Other
F1
things. non F1 related stuff.
Yeah. It's a separate group of friends. Me and Dan just happen to be
also
part of that mutual group.
Yeah, Lando's
It's
a part
just
of
the
it.
two of us.
Oscar's in it. I think Fernando's in it. Yuki just got kicked out of it, so he's not a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
The troll squad.
Mm.
How are we going to blind up Lewis this weekend?
Or the Nico curse. Have you heard about that?
we'll get Nico to do a selfie in front of his car again.
Exactly.
Oh, have you seen how angry he gets when someone pointed that out to him?
Yeah.
One of the Sky Sports guys pointed it out, and he goes, "Oh, I don't like that." That's he seems to be a very delicate, fragile man. Because
what do you reckon he quit after he got one championship?
But also there was the one where where Webber used to call him what was the nickname he gave him? Brittany. And he's like, you need to apologize for that. You can't say that kind of stuff. I'm like, you're an F1 driver. You're meant to have balls of steel, and you can't handle someone calling you in that. You drive at 300 kilometers an hour towards a carrier, and you're scared of an Aussie man.
Somebody calling you Brittany.
G'day, Brittany. Calm down, champ.
I reckon none of the he would not have survived back in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. No way.
No.
Well, I mean, he didn't survive. He can't survive now.
Well, think of it this way: if you looked at it, the way, especially early 80s, late 80s, mid 80s, early 90s, even mid 90s, even drivers then weren't best friends. They went out to absolutely destroy each other. Yeah. Like it didn't matter what was going on. If there was a corner there and they wanted to get in front, they didn't care what happened to the car. They just went, "No, I'm going to take that corner and." I'm going to get in front of you.
I think we've all seen Mazepin drive. I mean, that still happens to this day. I just feel like
spit out his tea.
Pasta.
Pasta.
Yeah, okay. I think every couple of years, someone is blessed with the ability of narrow vision, where they can only see here. And if there's someone,
that's Grosjean.
It's like that old sibling
we haven't had a Grosjean for a while.
But Booby, it's more like a sibling thing. I'm just going to be driving here, and if you happen to get in my way, I'm just going to plow through you, and then I'm going to use the words racing line.
Fair enough.
No, we had George and Max complain. Remember when George took out some of at Azerbaijan when George clipped Max's pod.
Yeah.
And Max acted like a small child.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like Alonso, Dan, maybe Oscar, and there's not many others don't act like children when things don't go their way. Like Dan gets annoyed. Like I've heard him get annoyed. Yeah. I think Alonso at this point now is like, I don't even care. I'm just here for the tax benefits.
That was one
young.
Yeah, but that was one really good thing with Oscar I found on the weekend when who was it? George that ran him wide or Lewis?
George.
Yeah, and they came over the radio and they're like, "Oh, that was dangerous." Oh, and he's like, "Yeah, it was all right, mate."
Yeah, and even George made it sound like it was a bigger deal, and Oscar's like, I think in his mind he channeled Mr. Massey and just go, "It's called motor racing, guys. We went for a motor race. Carry on."
Exactly.
Yeah,
if you're listening
that was
to this
like
moto,
very Webber kind of inspired, like it's racing kind of thing.
It's racing. You're racing.
Play
that's
on. It. Yeah. Which that actually, because to be honest, and I haven't followed Oscar a hell of a lot on the way up. Like I knew who he was or whatever. I hadn't seen a lot of his racing and whatever. Whereas, like say Dan and Webber coming up through, like followed very closely. So I haven't had that kind of interaction, I suppose, with Oscar. So you don't quite know his full personality or whatever. And he's come across as a little bit stiff, and which as they come in and they do relax a bit. But that really. Yeah, and you can get that especially at the start because they are young and not used to it all. But yeah, you're a bit like, and that on the weekend, like I really started to warm towards him on the weekend. So
Like he's got a mature head on his
Well,
shoulders.
this is why I was saying before, guys. I feel like Lando is not as mature as Oscar. Like, there's just things that he,
Yeah.
like, like in your little photo down here, Dave, with the broken bars. Like, I get it that him and Max are good mates, but also like, supposedly it does take a long time to make, and you
6
could
months.
tell what was going to happen when he did it. Like you're smashing a bottle onto a podium next to a vase. I mean, that's just common
right on the
sense.
edge.
When you see a vase, you don't go any,
Exactly.
Well,
it doesn't matter. Like they said, the company
we've all
that
made
makes it.
mistakes.
But I think that the way he acts, you can tell that
He's still got a bit of
if you didn't know who he was, I would say that Lando was the rookie and Oscar had been there longer. Like the way he sort of conducts himself.
Yeah.
Like Oscar's, like you said, he's like, George went slightly wide, but what are you going to do? That's, it's racing. Whereas like sometimes Lando comes off as just like a kid that's just like, I'm here to race a car. Oh, I knocked something over. Oh, idiots. Like, maybe he just doesn't have the media training that it looks like Oscar's been given by, Mark may have almost told him.
Exactly.
Like, here's how you conduct yourself in an interview. You don't want to come off as, a whingy little Brit,
But I think as well, like there would be a bit, I'm not sure at what age, but Oscar would have moved over to Europe away from friends, family, etc., like very young. And he's been around that kind of Weber school where it would be very, like, whereas Lando would have, all his racing and that, he would have been going back home on a night, like back with family, with, siblings. Right? I'm not sure. I think he's got a sister or something, but, you're in that more. Yeah, and you think like, when, say, we were 21 or whatever, the kind of ages these guys are, like, fuck me, and then what these guys are getting judged for, you're like, well, 21, like, we could have easily done shit like that, if not worse. But then you're thinking, if you essentially moved out of home at 13 or whatever into a different country, you're like, you would probably be a fuckload more mature because you would be hanging around with, mechanics and things like that. You wouldn't so much, because that's where you have, I suppose, or like in my life, that's where you had more your big jump in maturity was once you got out of school and whatever. Whereas, these guys have been in that kind of school environment, whereas some of your other, like Oscar and say even like someone like Checo or whatever seemed a lot more mature at that 21 or whatever than say like your Lando or even even like Lewis, he had a big maturity. I mean, sometimes there he still has the stripes.
Fun fact about fun fact about that vase: the company that actually makes it says it's got a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, it's the lifetime warranty, Bully. But then there's the weeks it takes.
No, even with the I know that. Like even that Lando did that. They said, look, we're promoting the country. We produce these things. They take.
Oh no, it's not that, Bully. It's the way that Lando. Like I know he was joking.
I know
all the time.
he's a big kid. I know that. Like
but
even earlier, didn't you see him with the
slight remorse?
Well, even during COVID times, don't you remember with him with the B and with the sim racing and that sort of stuff? He's always
but the thing is, like, you can tell if it was anyone else. Like even when George got third place and then he lost that place because of the countdown, what was it, the 5-second penalty, and he ran down and gave it to thing. Like you can see other drivers like full on complaining and like inquest, blah blah blah. It should be George sort of lent into it and took the piss out of it because he got to drive down to, Alonso's house and like hand it over to him and like have a laugh or whatever. I just feel like it's George's, as much as, I think he's a silly little kid, he's at least got better maturity and probably media sense to know here's an opportunity to me not look like a silly kid that broke a vase.
Exactly.
Like like maybe, him having a video of him trying to repair the vase or something. But basically, he just came across as like, nah, me and Max are mates. It doesn't matter. And I go, yeah, but the problem is, like you said, Bobby, the people who made it, like, they'll fix it. They don't care.
Yeah.
But like,
it's more
like
about Lando. Should have said, like he should have shown a little bit more remorse or something. Or
he showed,
that sort of
from
thing.
what I've seen, he showed basically no remorse and just sort of laughed it off because all he saw was, well, Max has got heaps of these. I don't really care. Whereas, like, if you made that and you were watching the race and you saw like a 20-odd-year-old kid just smashing a bottle of champagne in the corner of the thing, you're like, this is not ending well.
No, definitely not. I think that's enough F1 I think it's enough F1. Do you want to go into predictions for this week? Or how do you want to do it?
Has Rob done his predictions?
Yes, he told me. So let me.
No, he actually already entered it. He's already entered it. Yes, he has. No. Unfortunately, I actually saw
Rob has said Hulkenberg, number 2, lock it in. You heard. Hulkenberg, 2. He said Yuki is going to get back because he's annoyed that he's about to lose his job. Yuki's 3rd. That's what Rob told me. I've got the chat window, but I can't show it to you right now. But he basically said that. Yep. And he said number 4, he said Logan. Logan is going to come through strong. He is looking the goods.
Yep.
I've seen his Instagram videos. He showed a lot of remorse that his car didn't do what it was meant to. Number 4, Logan, lock it in, all truth.
Okay.
Dave, you heard me, so it's true.
All right. Dave, let's go with you. Who are you picking?
Well, seeing as though they were competitive in Hungary, where they weren't supposed to be competitive, Lando and then Oscar.
Ooh,
Piastri.
And I think I've probably used up all my Hamiltons. So
no, Hamilton's not on that list. You can put Hamilton again if you want. Hamilton's not part of the list.
Checo.
Are you on Checo? Ooh, okay.
Because although he's useless, the Red Bull should be strong.
All right, I'm going to go.
Matt scored points last week too. He got 2 points, Matt. Dave, you didn't get anything last week.
I will go.
How did I not get anything?
You didn't get anything. You had Alonso, Hamilton, and Ocon.
Loser.
Hamilton. Don't we get points if they're in the top?
Wait.
Sorry. You get a point for Hamilton.
You get a point for Hamilton. Sorry.
There we go.
Fix that up.
Dave, he's stealing your points. He's trying to steal your points, Dave.
I knew this was corrupt.
Anyway. All right, Matt, who are you saying again?
All right, it pains me to say this, but I reckon, I feel either Lando and Blessed 44.
So who do you want? So who do you want for second?
You know what? I'm gonna go Lewis. It hurts me to say it. Lewis.
Okay.
Then Lando's.
Yep.
And who do we feel it's gonna come in and just take? Did you take Perez in 4th, Dave?
Yes, he did. So did Rob.
Oh, I can't do that. Let's mix it up. You know what? Fernando's coming back.
It's not really a track for Aston Martin, unfortunately.
Oh, then I changed my plans. George.
No, you've decided.
All right, fair enough.
So, all right. And
I need to score some points back on someone.
Hey, I'm not stealing them off you. Booby's getting them out of you.
I think we need to audit this spread.
Hey, Booby, how many points did you get last week? 6? 7? 9?
14.
You know what, Dave? I heard Booby pick the top 20. He just magically picked the order and qualifying positions.
What was that game show where they'd play like for 28 minutes or whatever, and then like there'd be one team that was on like 54 points and one team's on 2 points. And it's the final round where, funnily enough, it's worth 53 points. So anyone could win.
Taskmaster. No, countdown. Countdown with the
countdown.
8 out of 10 cats was countdown.
Okay. So
that's right, Jimmy Carr. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So my predictions for this week.
Yep.
I've put Checo as second.
Oh.
Yes. Hamilton
third.
He's
getting fired, Boovy. How could he finish second if he's getting the boot?
I don't know. I reckon.
Yeah, but it's how badly it's second.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Like there's
Hamilton
second, and then there's Checo
Hamilton.
second.
Hamilton third, and then Piastri finishing fourth.
No Lando's.
No,
Where's
Lando's.
Lando, Boovy?
Lando's finishing fifth.
Okay.
All right.
Buffy
And
gets,
then-
Buffy gets
McLaren-
bonus points for picking fifth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then,
So, Boovy, you're telling me
Yeah.
that McLaren this time are going to put effort into Oscar's pit stop strategy and treat him better to help him actually finish above Lando.
I reckon he's just going to do better than Lando this week.
Are you saying that there's a conspiracy there that maybe McLaren
Dave,
switched them?
that's Matt. That's Matt saying it. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
Dave,
anything.
all I'm saying is maybe the English team prefers the English driver, and the Australian one, is a dirty convict at this point because Australia-English relationships right now are kind of sour, Dave.
Exactly.
Also, Dave, unrelated. Oh, what's this? Oh. Look at it's my tiny urn that I used to drink English tears out of, Dave. It's just a tiny little thing. I like to sit here.
Nice.
It just sits here, Dave, and I look at it and
So
smile.
I don't follow that thing obviously, but I have heard some stuff. Did we
little bars.
we as in Australia, did we win the Ashes now, or is it
We have
still
retained it.
We
So
have
you get to
retained the
keep
Ashes.
it.
We get to keep it.
So if an English person talks to me, they lost again.
Yes.
No. So
So
you
it
can
is
either,
over?
No, this is what happened.
if you had it last time and it ends in a draw, the people who had it the last time retain it.
Oh, so it ended in a draw, did it?
Yeah, well, basically,
Basically,
it can only end in a draw or Australia to win because it rained over there, and the English seem to think that Australians have magic mind powers, and they do this, and clouds appear. You remember when George thought there was rain in his helmet, and he blamed everyone else but himself?
That's basically
Basically, imagine that, but on a grand scale right now, where everyone in England is completely butthurt. How dare... Imagine, Dave, if Oscar turned up at Silverstone and won because he beat Lewis Hamilton, because Lewis Hamilton went in a bit of wet and lost the last corner, and then he snuck through. The English media would basically say Oscar stole it, and he should hand it over to Lewis because it was unfair, because Lewis was winning, and he should have just let him take the win.
Yes.
Okay.
Also,
that's a good way of explaining it. That's a
also,
very good way of
Dave.
explaining it.
They would also say that Lewis won the moral victory, even though he didn't get the trophy. He would still be the winner.
Don't worry, that can go on for ages. Rob's predictions.
Oh yeah, what are Rob's predictions that are lies? Because I already told you them.
No, it's Norris, Piastri, and Checo.
I think he just copied mine.
Yeah.
No, that's what he had first up.
Yeah, that sounds like he just copied mine.
No, we're already in
It
there.
sounds like you've actually
cheat.
read out Dave's. Did you read out Dave's?
No, I didn't. I read out that's what the ones he had.
Because I'm pretty sure I heard him say Hulkenberg, and he even said it in the voice.
Yeah.
I said, who's going to come second? Hulkenberg.
Don't believe me? You can check the versions.
Well, Dave and I are going to do a audit, I think.
Yeah. I don't even know where this document is, so...
I think I do, but I don't want to check it. It sounds like too much work.
It is. It seriously is.
I'm just going to assume Dave and I are correct, and in the end, we are the moral victors.
I'm not going to argue it anymore. That's it.
And
Can we talk some IndyCar? Should we talk some IndyCar now?
How good's Newgarden?
Oh my god.
Yeah. That was a Max-like performance.
Jeez. Can this guy's basically he's loving the speedways.
Yeah, well, that was only what they call short oval.
I know, but still, it's just ridiculous.
So he's won at Texas, Indy, and now both the Iowa rounds this year.
Jeez.
Which are all
quite
out
with
different.
His championship? Does it help him out in the championship?
Yeah, but the
really?
problem was Pelot was, I think, 10th or something in the first race, but the second race he got onto the podium. So
okay. He didn't catch up.
he only brought it back down to 8-point gap.
Okay.
So I think it's I'm not sure how many rounds are left, but I think it was he needs to outscore Palou by 12 points to be able to catch him in each round. Which, I mean, it's doable, but...
Is 12 points easy in Indy, though, Dave?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's 50 points for the win, but I think it's about 42 or something for second.
Okay, next
race. So he needs to finish a couple of positions ahead.
Yeah. And that, as well as winning.
So the next race, is that Nashville?
Yeah, I think so.
The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix.
Yeah,
I love
that
the
would be
the names are the best.
Great name. Of course, Nashville is a music city.
Um,
Let's see. Joseph Newgarden.
50 points for first, it looks, and 40 points for second.
Okay. How did Joseph Newgarden get 53 points for the win on Sunday?
Pole gets 1 point. Leading
lap.
a lap gets you 1 point. And
Leading a lap?
You get a point for leading a lap. And leading the most laps gets you 2 points. So if you lead a lap in an IndyCar race, you get a bonus point.
Just one for each lap, or just one?
No, just one for leading a lap.
Oh, that's the reason why Will Power got 42
So, Dave, if you're
points.
telling me there were 20 lead changes, there's 20 bonus points on offer.
Well, if 20 drivers led the race.
But you only need to lead it for like half a second.
For the crossing the finish line at the end of one lap.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So it's not like I overtake Boovy, and then 5 seconds later, Boovy overtakes me. We've now both got a point.
It's who leads at the end of that lap.
Okay.
Like when you cross the start finish line.
Jeez.
So that's where
you get points for the best looking helmet.
Almost.
No.
There's points for everything almost.
It just sounds like you get points for like writing your name correctly, turning up, putting 4 tires on the
races
car.
To go, including Nashville.
Yeah. So it is doable. I mean, but
he's only 80 points behind.
There's only one oval left, and considering what Palou's been like on the street and road courses this year, I can't see Newgarden
catching up,
bring it in, and he's probably the best positioned one, even though he's second. It's Dixon in third. And I can't.
Ericsson's fourth.
Dixon and Ericsson aren't going to overthrow.
No way.
Palou.
And then and then fifth's McLaughlin.
Yeah,
he's only a point behind Ericsson.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, they've actually got the double. Sorry.
McLaughlin could outscore Newgarden, but he's not. Essentially, he's out of the running even without looking at the points.
I just want to see who's last.
I think it's Latifi
Pedersen
and Nick DeVries.
Matt, you would have loved this.
Catherine Legge.
What happened, Dave?
Points.
Yeah, because she crashed at the 500, so that was her only.
And Bloomquist has actually got 5 points. Jeez, he even get points for last. Like, there's 3 drivers on 5 points.
Yeah. So
it sounds like the league that Logan Sargent needs to join, he'll get points for showing up.
Yep.
If you this year by the looks, if you finish a race even in last position, you get 5 points.
Yeah.
You just have to actually finish.
Let me put it this way: Takuma Sato has more points than Hunter Ray.
Yeah, Taku's done more rounds though at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So
I was hoping he'd be in front of. I was hoping he'd be in front of Stingray Rob, but he isn't.
Yeah,
Booby, Stingray Rob's going to win 2026.
Stingray Rob's not winning. I've got someone for you to cheer on, Matt.
Yeah.
Pedersen. He was going too slow on Saturday, so they kept him out of the race.
Benjamin Pedersen.
But it was kept very quiet, but apparently he was told to retire because he was going too slowly.
Way. That's
Danish driver.
Because he didn't finish the race on Saturday, did he?
I can
No.
check.
And there was nothing said about it on the telecast, but
Oh no,
apparently
he got disqualified at 27th.
Apparently,
Yeah.
he was running. It said
Yeah.
running. but he
Him and
got 5
Stingray
points.
got disqualified.
Stingray got disqualified because they let him out of the pits with only 3 wheel nuts on the
Oh,
car.
you're kidding.
So
Does he drive for Ferrari now?
close.
Okay.
Yeah. So what? Because a few people have said, because this has happened before, where the wheel nuts fallen off,
Yep.
and then the wheels come off. He actually, the guy knew that the wheel nut wasn't on,
Yeah.
and
But they
they
still let him
released the car, and the guys, like, the wheel nut was on the floor. You could quite clearly see it, and they continued, like, they let him go. They didn't
shit.
like, should have got on the radio, like, stop, but they actually let him drive around, which then the wheel came off. Which that was essentially like you knew,
You
and
knew that
you
was
let him
happening.
continue to drive around, that wheel was going to fly off.
Oh.
Yeah. So when he came back into the pits to put the fourth wheel back on, they went, "Nah, you're not going anywhere, buddy. You're
That's
just,
it. Game over.
you're staying here. Get the fuck out of the car."
Okay.
Whereas apparently Pedersen was told, bring him in, he's too slow.
Have they done? Can they do that in F1 during the race, or is it only qualifying?
I don't know if it's ever happened in the race, but I think they can.
Because it might get to the point where I'd like to see the opposite happen, where Max gets 4 minutes in front, and then FIA wave a new flag, which is, I don't know, a pirate flag. And basically what happens, they go, Max, you're too far in front. Everyone's bored and falling asleep. Just pull in for the pits for a little bit. I don't care what you do. Sit there, chat, but you've got a 3 minute just time penalty just to make it interesting.
It's funny, just a little bit of trivia. I think it was the 97 when they brought in the 107% rule for qualifying. And Villeneuve went out in Melbourne and qualified like 1.2 seconds faster than second position or something like that. Which, if you went off second position, the Lolas, I think it was, or it might not have been, I don't think the Lolas actually qualified. Whoever was like last, I think it might have said the Minardis, they, under second position, they were within the 107% rule. But because Villeneuve's qualifying lap was so like out of the ballpark kind of thing, they were outside of the 107% rule, and they kind of went, they went in for special dispensation or whatever, and kind of went, hey, this is bullshit that he's that much faster than everyone. Like, come on, we're within, the 107% of the rest of the field. It's just this one bullshit lap that this bloke's done.
Exactly.
And they went, okay, fair enough, you can go in the race.
So does that mean now, do they still have the 107? So that means people...
The field's like, you don't even get Max qualifying. Like, it's a big gap if Max qualifies like 0.3 of a second faster than everyone or whatever now.
But which
granted, the Red Bull's not a qualifying car. But like back then, it's like, Villeneuve qualified like 1.2 seconds faster than everyone. There was times, I think it was 88 or whatever, where the McLarens, and 92 was another one, where you'd have like Nigel Mansell say 1 minute 10, Riccardo Patrese 1 minute 11.8 or something, and Senna 1 minute 12.9. And you're like, Mansell's like 3 seconds faster than Senna in third position. But
and
this is a joke.
I think
nowadays
93 was the same race as well. 93 was exactly the same as well when Prost won his fourth championship.
Prost didn't give a much shit about destroying Senna. He was just like, I just need to win the races and I get my fourth championship. But like now, you don't even have 3 seconds covering the whole field.
Exactly. It's a lot closer. It's actually
but is that
better
because they just, that Red Bull sort of know, if we finish anywhere in the top 20, we're going to win anyway, basically.
Yeah, but I think also as well now with the way the rules are a bit more like with your Parc Fermé and shit like that, and with your like the resource restrictions and stuff, Red Bull have gone a bit like, hey, we can pass cars in the race, so will focus on getting the car perfectly right for the race. We've got Max. Even if he qualifies third, he'll still win the race because we've got the fastest car on Sunday. We don't need to qualify. That's nice, but we don't need
you be
to do
thinking then, Dave, if I was Red Bull, I'd go to Max. Max, finish 4th or 5th. I don't really care. You know, you do what you need to do. I'm just going to read the paper. I'd go, Checo, you need to finish 1st or 2nd because you are going to strike. You know what? If you need an extra cushion in your seat or whatever, or Max just to sit behind you and give you pace, that Max can finish 8th. I don't care. He will finish. He'll overtake everybody. You need to be in front. And it's also, it sounds like that with Lewis, where he was complaining that he had to battle his way up. And I think it was Lando that pretty much said, well, you've never had to fight your way up the top. You've basically lived at the front now. And I say that is great work, because I reckon if Max sticks around to say Red Bull and Red Bull slowly get overtaken, and then they both have to, work their way through the crowd like Lewis is now, I want to see him whinging and complaining like, oh, this isn't like it used to be where I just turn up in my rocket ship and I do 60 laps and I'm 4 days in front and then I walk the rest of the track.
I do wonder with Max, though, whether Lewis obviously has an issue with it. Like, in his mind, I'm the best. I shouldn't have to.
8-time champion. I'm an 8-time champion.
Should just go and win, kind of thing. Whereas and you get a bit with Fernando, like he just likes being in the fight.
That's next weekend.
Like he was losing a bit at McLaren where they're down the back, but he's been very much invigorated. Even like being back at Renault, he was a bit more invigorated because he was kind of in the fight. And then this year he's like riding. I get the impression with Max, as long as he's in that front fight, he'll be invigorated whether they're in the third best car or, the best car, as long as he's got that chance to fight for the victory. So
you reckon he'll stay there if he wants to fight, whereas Lewis is just there on delusion.
Yeah, but I can see Max getting bored and going, oh, well, I'll go and race WEC or whatever, because that'll be a more fun fight. Whereas
he does get the impression that he's like, remember I was telling you about Lauder and Hunt, whereas Hunt won at once and went, well, I can tick that off the list. That's a thing I've done. Max will be like, I'm a 3-time world champion. That's enough to put me in, the books of good drivers. He might do 3 or 4 and then...
I could see him going like, oh, fuck it, I'll go and race supercars or I'll go and race NASCAR or something like that.
I'll do IndyCar.
Because that looks like... that looks like a barrel load of fun, and like it'll be for shits and giggles. I'll go and give that a crack. Whereas I think someone like Lewis, I don't want to do IndyCar because of the ovals and that. But no, you can't. You don't want to do IndyCar because you know that there is guys in there like Newgarden or whatever that are gonna fucking hand your ass to you in the first season or whatever, because they're very fucking good at that. Whereas Max would be like, hey, this Newgarden guy, and then work it out. Whereas someone like Lewis, and there's other drivers that are very similar like that, like Nico Rosberg. There was no way he was going to go away and do other categories.
No.
Whereas like someone like Webber's like, hey, I'll go and I'm done with this. Have one thing. I'll go and give a WEC a crack.
Yeah.
Because that looks like fun. Like, it'd be fun having a battle in it.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah, it looks like Max will just go, I've decided I'm taking up, truck racing or like the Dakar rally because one of my mates told me I get to drive this buggy over sand dunes and I'm going to do that because it seems like a barrel of fun.
Yeah. Well, I think like Lando's the classic example. Like, oh, fuck it. I can't win Formula 1, but hey, I'll go win Le Mans and I'll go win Indy 500. And which didn't quite get there in the Indy 500. But, he had a crack at that because he's like, oh.
Do you reckon Max would do the Indy 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I reckon.
I'm just thinking for people to get his what is it,
the Triple Crown.
The Triple Crown. He's probably the most reliable at this point to get it. The most,
Yeah, he's very versatile.
Yeah.
And I mean, it helps being good at Formula One to get that leg out of the way. Whereas someone, say like Newgarden,
if he left and went to if he went to Christian and said, I'm going to retire at the end of 2026 or whatever, by the way, Mr. Newry, I'm going to race in Indy 500. You've got 2 years to design me a car.
No.
They
don't have the...
It's a set chassis. It's a single car, one make series, and that's it.
So what competition could he enter where he could just say, hey, Newry, just as a side project, because you've already done enough here, you've made Toto look stupid, can you design me a rocket ship for like the 24-hour of Le Mans in the LMP 1 class? Make it look like a chocolate cake with a peanut on top, because I really just want to take the piss out of everybody. Paint it bright orange, because I want everyone to see me when I'm doing my 300 laps, and I want to win by like a day and a half. I just want to absolutely...
Don't worry, I won't crash it at turn 1, so they won't lift it up and they won't see what you're doing underneath.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say as well. This is the second time that now Checo's made them lift up the hood. Do you think other teams just see Checo in qualifying and go, grab your cameras, boys? Just
that was in free practice.
There.
That was in free practice 1. I watched that live.
It was first lap out as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was first lap out. He dipped the rear left off onto the grass and just spun it.
But Dave, let's be honest. No other teams have no one's ever going to be able to has a scene under the, I don't know, we'll say McLarens, because no one's had to have it lifted out yet. So no one's going to be able to see. Of all the cars that you don't want, you can see the bottom of a Williams. Williams will probably show you if you ask nicely. They'll be like, here you go. It's just flat. There's nothing there. We don't have anything, there's no magic on it.
Apparently Williams were quite embarrassed when theirs got hoisted up.
Yeah, because
everyone's like, that's quite basic underneath there.
Yeah, so when they lift up the Red Bull,
they're slow.
Got, funnels and stuff, they're probably happy because they were hoping other people would come up and go, hey, Williams, we noticed you're struggling with the under. If you just put this thing here and just a beam there, and they're like, thank you, we'll just take notes. Whereas of all the cars you want hidden, I'd say Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, and maybe Aston Martin. But Red Bull would be the absolute worst.
Oh, yeah,
that's
sure.
Essentially, it's a cheat mode where you've paused the game, you've quickly just looked down and gone, yep, cool, off we go. Yep. And now everybody's going to, the 40 years of experience.
Copy.
Yes.
Yeah. You can copy. But basically, Newry would be sitting there fuming because he's like, I spent years working this out, and now some idiot with a camera, like the work experience kid from McLaren, is just going clickety click, click, click.
Or even the press agent or any of the photographers from any of the press agency would have done exactly the same thing. They would have gone, hey, McLaren.
Well, Toto would have that hilarious grin on his face again going, I hope they keep Perez on that team forever. I'm going to learn so much.
Yeah, true. Let's see.
It just seems like he's doing, like they said, he's not doing a lot to keep his position. And as they said, if Dan can drive a tractor through the F1 grid and finish 13th in what they said was the worst car. So in theory, he should have finished 20th because he's in the worst car and his teammate is a better driver than him. So he should be finishing 20th.
Yeah.
So, he's made two people, one person's made himself look stupid on his own, and then the other one's Yuki and just not driven very fast. I reckon both of them have had a secret meeting where they're like, hey, Perez, stick with me. I might be able to get you a seat on this new Honda team. I'll just tell him that you're my best mate.
What have I got?
I think they're both going to employment lines.
Yeah. What happened in F2 over the weekend?
Yeah.
Apparently an Aussie.
An Aussie doing one.
I heard an Aussie won.
Aussie won the main race.
Let's do the
Let's do this thing.
Oh yeah, wait.
If I can find it, here we go.
Boovies F2 report.
All right. So Hungary, basically, if I go straight to qualifying, it rained it rained during F3 qualifying. So by the time F2 qualifying started, it was just a lot drier. Cars, there's only one crash during the qualifying, which I found surprising. Just Stanovic within the first 10 minutes, and then most of the time, just the track kept ramping up. Times it kept getting faster, and that's it. So halfway through, roughly, Vesti was on pole at the time. Then there was Martins and it was Pourchaire. And then by the time end of qualifying reached, Doohan had the laps. He was just absolutely killing it in quali. He was just absolutely outpacing everybody. Martins had second and Vesti had third. So that was the top three in quali. For the sprint race, dry start. It was hotter than It was hotter than when it was in qualifying. A lot warmer. Only one virtual safety car. I wasn't sure who actually caused it because I'm not sure if I actually fell asleep during the race because there was actually not that much excitement during it, which is actually weird for F2. But at the end, Hauger won his first race for the year. He finished first. I finished second, and Ollie Behrman, Rob's driver of the series, finished third. Doohan finished 10th in that race. Didn't get any points. But he did. He was driving okay. So he basically said, "I'm not going to stuff up the car. Just look after it until the main race on Sunday." Then on the feature race, it was a lot warmer than even what it was on the sprint race on the Saturday. So that again, nobody actually. I don't think there was only one DNF for the entire race. Again. No real drama. Fell asleep halfway through the race again, which is I'm finding really surprising for F2. But then eventually, once a lot of them started doing their mandatory tire pit stops, a lot of teams were switching over to the medium, which actually wasn't really doing as well. And for some reason, the degradation on the soft, the drivers that started with the soft tire, could actually make the tire last for a while. So you had Doohan almost do 3/4 of the race on the soft tire and then switch over to the medium. And because the soft was still a lot faster than what the medium was, he had like a 10-second gap and just absolutely bolted in for first.
Hey, Booby, do they use the same tires in F2? Is it the same setup?
No, it's a completely different setup. They've got they're using almost a similar setup they had back with all the different colors. Where we had the rainbow.
So they've got the rainbow set.
They've got the rainbow set.
Oh, nice.
So basically you've got, I think they only go down to a super soft, so they only go down to the purple. But they've got the purple, the red, the yellow, the white, and then only the blue. So they've only got a wet tyre, they don't have an intermediate either. So they're restricted in terms of what tyres they actually do have. But yeah, for the race, Doohan finished first, Vesti finished second, and Martins finished third. So basically very similar to what was in qualifying, just Vesti and Martins the other way around. All in all, good race. Like I said, you had to see Doohan wrapped, winning the race, that sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens for the next race. For the championship, we've got Vesti still leading the championship on 153 points. Pourchaire is second on 142. That's the one thing I forgot to mention. His teammate Martins actually made him run wide, and he actually lost about 3 or 4 positions, and causing that gap actually should have been a lot smaller to Vesti than what it currently is at the moment. Our favorite, the number one Red Bull Junior, I was as third on 132. Pourchaire's teammate Martins is fourth on 105, and Doohan's actually in the top 5 now, the championship on 100 points. So he's doing really well
confirmed.
For the teams championship, you've got a tie for the top position. Prema and Art both on 247 points. Dams is third on 171. Roden Carlin's fourth on 138, and MP Motorsport is fifth on 129 points. And basically, that's the review of Hungary. And I didn't put any predictions yet for Spa, but I'll just do them on the fly. I'd probably say, let's go Vesti finishing first, doing second, and Porsche finishing third.
So you reckon that's a turning point for doing now?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's the fact that he's actually got his first win for the season. He's been driving a lot better. Even during the other races and that, you're just saying, okay, you can see that he's actually more focused on his racing, that sort of stuff. He's not letting the little things get to him as much as it was in the first few races. So yeah, looks like he's said, all right, fine. I'm going to hunker down. I'm going to try and get as many points as I can. I'm going to drive to the best of my ability, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, because
I mean, that's
realistically,
like the story of Yuki a couple of seasons ago. I'm just saying, it sounds very similar to when Yuki was told he needs to hunker down, get to work, and start racing.
No, but yeah,
I'm not confident
realistically, he needs another year of F2.
Yeah, he does actually.
He's not ready to make the step up. And then you do have, I'm pretty sure both the Alpine drivers are out of contract at the end of next year.
Yeah, they're both.
So
they
will actually have a seat available in 25 for one of the juniors to progress into their own team.
Is this doing second year or third year? I wasn't quite sure.
This is his second year of F2, I'm pretty sure.
So if he does another year, it'd actually be more beneficial for him.
Yeah, although then there is that, you know, unless you win F2 in the first year, you're shit. But
can Alpine make those demands though, Dave? I don't think they're a team. Red Bull could make that demand. I don't think Alpine's in the position to.
It seems to be on the flow though. Like you've got Hamilton, Rosberg, Piastri. Say all of them won it in their first year.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got guys like Grosjean, Julian Palmer?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's been a couple of Latifi never won.
No, he never won.
But he was in there for a long time before he made the step up.
What about Albon?
Albon? No. So George Russell won that year. But
Albon came third.
Yeah. And Norris was second.
Yep.
So the three of them stepped up. I think it might have been Albon's second year.
Okay.
It was.
But he wasn't supposed to race. He only was filling in for someone at like round one, and it was a shit team too.
Okay.
But it was, I think that might have been George's second year, wasn't it? But Lando's first.
No, George only had 1 year, 2018.
So he was a rookie as well. What about Lando?
Lando, that was his second year. Albon's second year as well.
That's why.
Okay.
It was Lando who's second. But you also go, that was a year where you had like three really good drivers, whereas then...
Hey, Dave, whoa. 2018, you had 4 very good drivers. Don't forget, Latifi was in that year.
Well, Latifi was he 4th or 5th that year?
He would have been like 4th. He must have finished 4th because or maybe even worse.
Because he had some wins. But then you've got, who won it last year? The Dragovic.
No, Dragovic.
But that was like Dragovic's 4th year.
Okay.
And then when you also look through, you're like, well, the competition last year was like, you know, say doing in his rookie year and things like that.
2018 was a good year, Dave.
That's the thing. Like you do get some years where, like, and I think like Leclerc won it in his. I think that might have been second year Leclerc.
You checking this, Matt?
Yeah. So I was just checking 2018.
You can do the fact checking. Yeah, check. Maybe check a bit earlier.
But you also like when you look at
Leclerc won it 2017.
Okay. Was that his second year or first year?
Nah, that was his only year.
So then there's another one that won it in the rookie year. Yep. And then you also kind of go, okay, Albon and Norris didn't win their rookie year, but Leclerc did win it, kind of thing. And that's when, like, then you look at someone like Dragovic, and you're like, there wasn't that class there that, you know, you're like, oh, okay, these guys didn't win it, but Dragovic was in there kind of thing. But then you also look at and you're like, Dragovic won it, but who did he beat?
The quality of it was just the quality of the drivers. So if you look at this year, Vesti's actually doing really well. Considering.
Yeah, and if you have someone like, say, Vesti or, for example, Piastri coming in, even though maybe it might not be the strongest field that year, but he did come in and win it at his first attempt. Yeah. Whereas then, like, you look at the year before, and I think you had, like, Eilert, Schwartzman, Schumacher kind of thing.
Yeah, I think if you win it, no matter what year, Dave, if you win it, I think that should count regardless. But
but then there is the levels of the.
No, but if you win, if you win it in your rookie year, it should count. But if you if you win it, like Piastri coming in and winning his first year, but that's it doesn't matter. Say who you like, you came in and beat everybody in your first year.
Exactly.
But it's like, stay with Indy Lights or now Indy Next, because they always go back to the O'Ward didn't win the championship or whatever. And it's like, but he got beaten by Herter.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think who was like the third guy that year. And then like that year, there wasn't many cars. It was essentially the two of them. But that was one of the most fierce fights for the championship win ever. And then you're like, oh, well, he only won it by a couple of points. And you're like, these two guys were like light years ahead of all the other guys. And then you look at a couple of the other, that 18, I think.
Yep, 18, Indy Next. So you had O'Ward. I want to see the...
But then if you go like a couple of years before, say, I think it was Spencer Piggott won it, and you actually went like none of the other guys ever like made a dint getting towards like IndyCar kind of thing. You're like, but he won the Indy Lights Championship. And you're like, yeah, the competition was pretty shit. Like, Whereas if you'd put in, like, say, a Herter or whatever into that year, you're like, they would have won every race, every pole position kind of thing. And you get that a bit with the F2. Like, you get those guys and something like Latifi won some races in there. And you probably find that he won races on the off kind of years.
2018. Found the 2018 season. So Pat O'Ward did win the championship that year.
Oh, it was the other way around, wasn't it? Yeah,
Pat O'Ward did win the championship on 491. Herter finished second on 447. And Santi Oritia finished third with 395. So obviously he hasn't done really much, and I don't recognize any of the other names from there. And I'm just checking 2019. None of them are in the current series.
Yeah.
They didn't do 2020, 2021. Nope.
Oh yeah, 2018, Dave. There's barely anyone turned up.
I know, but now if you look at the newer seasons, there's a lot more people.
Yeah. It did drop right off.
Wow, Linus
Lundqvist.
Linus, sorry, Linus. Sorry, I'll say it again. Maybe Linus Lindqvist. He absolutely destroyed Stingray Bob. Stingray Rob.
And see, that's the thing. Like Linus's championship, you would rate that lower if Stingray Rob was close to him. But it's like he came in and he fucking killed
destroyed it.
So that you kind of go, that even though it's an off year.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing a name here. I'm seeing a name here, Matthew Brabham. Any relation to Jack? It is a relation to Jack Brabham. Grandson. Yeah. Okay. And then here's Benjamin Peterson finishing 5th that season.
Yeah.
Last year. Who's winning this year? Christian.
I'm not sure because of who?
Christian Ramussen. Haven't heard of his name.
Okay.
So
where's Chadwick?
Chadwick. Is that Jamie Chadwick?
Yeah.
16th. Why, you got to bet on with somebody?
No. Just I want to see her do well.
Okay, like
because
rookie season in next rookie season.
Yeah.
I probably. But the thing is, though, do they only do one season, or can they carry over if they're like fairly low?
Oh, they'll carry.
Okay,
over.
that's all right then.
Yeah. I just hope
sorry.
she
I
gets
can
a
see
few
another
more.
name here. Yeah, I see another name here that was from last year. Frost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So long
You
as
say Frost?
Frost. Yeah.
Oh, Frost.
Danielle Frost.
That also shows the W series.
Yeah.
Our failure, realistically.
Yeah. So the academy probably be a lot better now.
Yeah. Even the hard thing is that you segregate.
Yeah, you don't want to segregate. You actually want them racing with the guys.
Yeah, because Chadwick, really, she's the biggest prospect at the moment.
Yeah.
And then she ends up in Indy Lights.
Yeah. And
in 16th.
She's 16th.
Yeah.
But like I said, give her another. I reckon give her at least one season to get used to the equipment.
Well, I think as well. I haven't been watching it, but I don't think Andretti's as strong as what they have been previously. There's think you need to be in a HMD. Isn't she in an Andretti car?
I don't know. It doesn't say which car she's in, but I'm just looking at.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's with Andretti.
Okay.
I think you need to be part of HMD at the moment too.
Would you believe it? The one race that Matthew Brabham raced this year, he scored 32 points. So whatever race that was,
so like 8.
Is that like 8?
Even 32 points. You got a fast lap. You had the brightest hat.
You turned up.
You turned up. You filled your name correctly on the form, and you saluted the American flag the correct way.
You finished. So 32 points is about third or fourth. Oh, sorry, fourth. Looks about fourth. You got like fourth in that race.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be fun, Dave, if F1 used Indy scoring, just so we could say Max scored 10,000 points in a season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the
reason. Because he'd get a point for leading. He'd get a point for, fastest lap. He'd get 87,000 points for coming first. And then they'd make bonuses for every second that you're in front. You get an extra point. So essentially, every week, 180 points.
Max is the first champion with 1 billion points. I can understand, and this is probably more for an off-season thing because you spend hours on the point scores topic.
Yeah, for sure.
There's arguments for and against all of the.
So basically, having depending on that,
I'm not a massive fan of the way F1 goes to 10th now.
I know. Before it used to be to 6. You used to get 10 points for first, 6 points for second, 4 points for third, 4 points. Fourth got 3 points, fifth got 2 points, and 1 point went to 6. And everybody else was like suffering your jocks.
But
then they changed it. They expanded it to 10.
And obviously, as it gets more competitive, like say with the IndyCar, then you would essentially you've got a lot of a bulk of people not scoring anything.
Yeah, exactly.
All year, and then it's very hard to determine, and you get that one freak result like Mark Webber in Melbourne 2002,
where he scored 5,
where he gets a fifth position, and all of a sudden that means essentially Minardi's beaten other teams in the championship with one like freak race, and they finish last like every other race, but they've had one freak result, and all of a sudden they're ahead of like 3 or 4 teams.
So they probably did it more just to balance it up. I think they just did it more to balance it up a bit.
Yeah, and that's where it's hard, like say with the Indy cars, because
and also now with the sprint races too.
Oh, it's a sprint race this weekend too.
No, is it? No, it's Spa. I don't think it is. Is it?
Yeah.
No. No. Did they? No, I thought they weren't going to do sprint race at Spa. Schedule.
Sprint race. That's
sprint
why,
weekend, isn't it?
I told you, that's why Rob picked Hulkenberg to do Spa, because he knows he's going to do well in the sprints.
They ruined.
Rob's going to be really annoyed when you've changed his picks.
Yeah, of course he is. Anyway.
And Dave and I we're innocent victims in this.
Yeah. There's none of my fingerprints on the spreadsheet.
It's just boobies.
Yeah, I've done all that. So yeah, but yeah, it's like, why the sprint weekend at Spa? No, they ruined it. They've ruined the great.
Yeah, and I'll complain about it, and I will then watch
We'll still
all the
watch
qualifying, all the
Yeah.
races, and then complain about it afterwards.
afterwards as well.
But I
which
will
we
watch it all.
We still watch it. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
complain about it, but we still watch it. I
Yeah.
know.
And I will complain that I've had to watch so much Formula One over the weekend. But I
Because
will
you
still
can't-
watch it.
Although, what was it? I think was it next weekend? One of the weekends of IndyCar. The IndyCar race is actually on a Sunday morning.
Again, like last weekend.
Yeah, but it's only on the Saturday morning.
Yeah, which ones? Is that
Sunday
Gateway?
morning. Gateway. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not Gateway. The one after the Gateway. Oh, sorry, Music City. Sorry, Music City's this week.
The
and then
Music
next
City
week's
one.
Gateway, Music City's normal. That's normal Monday morning, and then the Gateway one's the one that's only on the Saturday because that's the one that does they're doing the combined round with the NASCAR.
Oh, that'll be the Indy road course.
The Indy road course
That'll
one.
be that'll be this.
They're calling it Gallagher or Galloway.
Yeah, so that's at the Indy road course.
Yeah. Although technically, I definitely do want to watch the final round this year because I want to watch an IndyCar race at Laguna Seca. I definitely will try and work out a way to try and watch that live.
It's either amazing or shitful.
Is it that, really? Is it that how?
There's no fucking in between, it seems.
Really?
At Laguna Seca.
I love that.
It's
track.
either a brilliant race or it's just an absolute, like, snooze fest, nothing happens.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah.
Why?
You never
really
know. It might be
exactly.
a peeler of a one.
Maybe.
But
although
yeah.
technically, have we checked weather for Spa this weekend?
I think it's supposed to be wet.
Oh no, actually that'd be good.
So
George can get a
rain,
podium with doing 2 laps.
I think. Weather, Spa.
Weather in the Spa. It's going to be wet and warm, Dave, and bubbly.
Of course it is. Oh shit, you're right, Dave. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's just rain.
Oh, can I change my results then that that Little Stroll's going to win because he's a wet weather champion, I've been told?
You want to... Are we
you
going
want.
to allow this? Okay. I'll
No, Dave wouldn't let me change my results, even though you let Rob change his results, and he's clearly picked. Dave, I feel like the commission...
If Matt wants to put Stroll in there, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Who are you going to get? Who you want to change then?
Nah.
No.
I'm happy just to theoretically
You
pick
happy
Stroll.
to stick with... You're still happy to... theoretically, okay. So you still want to keep Hamilton, Norris, and Alonso.
I mean, I don't want to because it means Hamilton gets another podium. And it'll just give him that confidence to think that he can keep racing next year and win his 7th championship.
Okay.
Because obviously Massa's going to steal his over the Christmas holidays.
Yep.
After the court case comes through. Do we know anything about the updates for that, Dave or Booby? Is there?
No, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything regarding that.
I'd like to see him lose that. That'd be funny as. All right, I think we're good.
Yeah, we've covered off pretty everything. We've kept it nice and tight to an hour.
Yep, good clean, short show.
Good clean
Obviously,
short
next
show.
week we're going to have Dave just go on a 20-minute rant about how Spa's got a sprint thing and he didn't like it, but he watched all of it. And then Booby can go on about how they've ruined Spa with the sprint. And I will look up interesting facts about hats
Spa.
in F1.
Okay.
Sure,
And then also I've got to do the F2 as well.
Yeah. All right.
All
Until
right.
next week. We'll see you all later.
See yous. Bye.